again, so it's Simon, and tonight, the story takes another turn. As the lines between past, present, and future blur even further. Each choice we make sends ripples through time, but tonight, we'll step carefully and breathe deeply. Before we begin, let's take a moment to unwind. Feel the surface beneath you, soft and supportive. Let your shoulders drop, your hands rest gently. Take a slow breath in and out. In and out. In and out. In and out. Allowing your mind to let go of the day. Now, let's return to the story. The ChronoCore's soft hum filled the barn, a constant reminder of the strange power it held. Simon sat cross-legged on the floor, staring at the glowing patterns that seemed to shift and move with a rhythm all their own. Elise paced back and forth, her arms crossed tightly. "We should have heard from Matthias by now," she muttered, glancing toward the door. Simon didn't respond immediately. His thoughts were elsewhere, tangled in the strange connection he felt to the device. "What if it's trying to tell us something?" he said softly, his voice barely above a whisper. Elise stopped pacing, her brow furrowing as she turned to him. "Tell us something. It's a machine, Simon. It doesn't have thoughts or feelings." Simon shook his head. "I don't know how to explain it. But when I touched it, I felt something, like it was alive, like it knew me." The sound of footsteps outside snapped them both to attention. Elise grabbed a small revolver from her bag. Motioning for Simon to stay quiet, the barn door creaked open and Matthias stepped inside. His face pale and his clothes dusted with dirt. "We've got a problem," he said, his voice low but urgent. Elise lowered the revolver. Her expression hardening. What happened? Matthias leaned against the wall, catching his breath. "The Gestapo's onto us. They're sweeping the area. We don't have much time." Simon's heart sank as he looked at the ChronoCore. What do we do? Matthias exchanged a glance with Elise before speaking. "We have to move it. If they find us with that thing, it's over. For all of us." The group worked quickly, loading the ChronoCore back into the truck under the cover of darkness. The forest around them was eerily quiet, the faint rustling of leaves the only sound. Simon felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him as they drove deeper into the woods. Elise glanced at him from the driver's seat. "You're awfully quiet." Simon hesitated before responding. I keep thinking about what happens if we fail. What happens if we succeed but things still go wrong? Elise's grip on the steering wheel tightened. "We don't have the luxury of second-guessing ourselves, Simon. Right now, all we can do is keep moving forward." They reached an abandoned factory on the edge of the forest. Its rusted metal walls blending into the shadows. Matthias climbed out of the truck, scanning the area before motioning for the others to follow. Inside, the air was cold and damp, the faint smell of oil lingering in the space. They set the ChronoCore down in the center of the room, its glow casting an eerie light on the walls. "This'll buy us some time," Matthias said, his voice echoing slightly. Elise nodded, but Simon's attention was fixed on the ChronoCore. He knelt beside it, his fingers brushing against its surface once more. "It's showing me something," he murmured, his voice distant. Elise and Matthias exchanged wary glances. "Simon," Elise said cautiously, "what do you mean?" Simon closed his eyes, the patterns on the ChronoCore filling his mind. He saw flashes of images, cities crumbling, people vanishing, timelines unraveling. It's not just a machine," he whispered. "It's connected to time itself. And it's breaking." The weight of his words hung in the air, the silence heavy and oppressive. Matthias took a step closer, his tone firm. "Then we need to destroy it before it gets any worse." Simon stood, his gaze steady. "And what if destroying it tears everything apart? If it's connected to time, what happens if we cut it off completely?" Elise stepped between them, her voice calm but insistent. "We need answers before we do anything." Rushing into this could make things worse. For now, we'll pause here. This is the end of episode 3. But the story is far from over. Imagine the cold metal of the factory, the faint hum of the ChronoCore. And the weight of the decisions ahead. Breathe deeply. Let the calm settle over you. Good night.